Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Mike, your host of Multifamily Unplugged. And yes, it's Saturday morning. Hey, it's kind of interesting. It's snowing here in Chicago this morning, but that's spring in Chicago, right? Hey, I'm excited about this morning's show, though. Have a good friend of mine, somebody that I met on Clubhouse, and that we've had a number of rooms over the last several months. We've had a number of conversations about a lot of different things. Our two big conversations are raising private equity and multifamily basics. And Omar has been in the business a long time, and he resides in Vegas. I'm excited about having Omar on the show with me this morning. Before I bring him in, though, let's talk about intentions. I always like to ask you, what were your intentions today when you got up? Were your intentions to do another sales call, get a rehab done, put a contract in, take the day off, spend some family time? Whatever your intentions were, are you on track? Are you working on those things? We know that our intentions are important. Here's what I told people the other day. I did a boot camp on Thursday. It was a full day event. Had a number of people on and really talked about everything multifamily fundamentals. So we talked about theory and economies of scale. We talked about raising private equity, underwriting, due diligence, everything that goes into it, really from a broad stroke perspective. But here's the thing that I told people. I said, look, something is going to spark you today. You're going to get an insider secret. You're going to grab hold of a golden nugget. Don't walk away from an event. Don't walk away from a coaching call, a training session. Don't walk away from somewhere without taking some action or putting a stake in the ground to go take some action. So tell somebody that is around you, tell your coach, tell someone who cares about your success, and have them hold you accountable. So it's really important that when we're trying to grow and progress, that's how we handle things. All right, so let me bring Omar in this morning. If um, Omar, what's up?
Hey, good morning, Mike. How are you doing?
I'm good. How's it the weather this morning in Vegas?
I believe today it's going to be 96, if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to be a warm one today in Las Vegas. It's a beautiful day.
Today,
Yep, 90, high of 90, I'm sorry, 92 of today.
today would be a day to go out and get your golfing in before noon,
Absolutely.
before 10 o'clock. I I love the desert. Sometimes it's tough though. So, hey Omar, listen here. Here's something I don't think I've ever asked you this, and I always ask my guests when we get started on these shows. But tell us in one word what best describes you personally and professionally.
Oh, wow.
Uh,
One word, professionally and um, committed.
okay,
Committed.
I see that about you, being committed, wanting to always push the ball forward. Good for you. That's great. Hey, let's do this. Give people a little bit of background on you. A little bit about how you got involved in real estate, what your history is, and what you're currently working on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I got in real estate in 2002. I was looking for a single family house with my then wife, and I stopped in front of a fourplex, and it was a for sale by owner. I remember the sign and everything. And I sat there and I was looking at it, and I saw that I had 4 units, and I was like, well, if I lived in one and rented out the other three, I should be able to live rent free. That's what I thought at that time. And I proceeded to buy it. It was my first investment. It was in Alabama. I was in the military back then,
Hmm.
and once I purchased that, it just kind of opened the floodgates, and we just I continued to purchase a few, and then that was in 2002. So if you're not remember your history lessons, everything was great until about 2006, 2007, and I actually at that point I had bought a property on eBay, in Dayton, Ohio. I had flipped a couple of houses, and when the crash happened, I had a couple of properties, and that didn't go well. I This was 2009. I became a real estate agent. From real estate agent, I became a property manager. Got into property management, where I started working from scattered sites, so meaning, single family homes throughout the valley, then small multifamily, and then I got involved in large multifamily, or I managed a 100-unit multifamily where they did a reposition, where we renovated about 30 of those units to reposition. Once that happened, it kind of gave me the bug. It gave me an introduction to construction as well, because we were doing so many rehabs. From that, I then got a job as a property manager for a larger 256 unit apartment complex, and kind of went through the same process. Went in there, we rehabbed a lot of those units, and then in a few years, I found myself without a job, because they sold those apartments, and I was out of job again. I went to corporate America then. I worked for Invitation Homes for a short stint. Invitation Homes is owned by BlackRock,
Mm-hmm.
Financial. Worked there for a few months, but didn't our culture or our values didn't align. And I left that, and then started flipping houses, and then started flipping houses, bought a small 18 unit out in Ohio, worked with several other investors that did some multifamily, but I think that's about it. And then today we're still doing some flips. We're still actively pursuing multifamily. We're also looking at storage units. We do construction management for investors and for our projects. And we also are in the ADU space, building accessory dwelling units here in Vegas. And opportunity zones. So opportunity is a new one from for 2020. We're looking at opportunity zones to get involved and to look up, to do projects. And where I want to go is ground up development, and multifamily is kind of where I am headed. There's a lot of other spaces in there, but I don't know if we have all the time.
Yeah, boy, I'll tell you. Hey, first, let me say thanks for your service. And, I know we've known each other for probably pretty close to a year now, huh?
Yes.
Clubhouse. And I don't know that we've ever really been off Clubhouse. So it's kind of funny that we get this opportunity to do this. But hey, I want to unpack some of that. So, obviously you've got a long lineage, a long history of being in the real estate business, real estate space. You said a couple things, though, that were intriguing that I want to get to. You said you bought a property on eBay?
Oh, yeah.
How'd that work?
Funny, we just actually got rid of it recently. It actually proved a really good. So this was 2000 and around that time, so around 2004 and 5, and I was doing actually deals in California. I was stationed in Fort Irwin, California, so I was doing a little bit of real estate there, and I just, eBay was a big thing back then, right? And so I was just looking online. I saw a property. It was about $6,000, and I just bought it. I was like, what could go wrong? Everything could go wrong. Don't ever do that. It wasn't worth six. At that point, I didn't. This is, we didn't have as much information as there is available now. For comps and looking at the market. I just saw a property for $6,000. I said, what could go wrong? Even if I had to put $20,000-$30,000 into it, I said I still have a cash flow asset. But
Right.
But in that market, you could have got a house for free. People would have gave you that house. There was a lot of people that in certain markets throughout, that prices are compressed still, or they're really low, and you can buy duplexes for 30, 40, $50,000. They're in not in the best areas, but you could still buy those. So I
Yeah.
bought that one, and it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot of things not to do, but
Hmm.
it was an interesting uh, journey, and that property kept on cash flowing when it taught me a good lesson about cash flow, because when the market crashed and everything else went to crap, um, it was a $500 rental. It just kept on, popping out $500 a month. And so it taught me a lot about cash flow as well.
That's crazy, isn't it? It's funny how we learn these lessons along the way, but I love the whole eBay story because most people just wouldn't think about that, right? I mean, you go to Craigslist and there's property listed out there on Craigslist. We even find better tenants sometimes on the management stuff on Craigslist than you do in some of the other places. But it just there's these little places that you can find opportunity, and it's interesting how they show up. Hey, so I really want you to talk about the thing you said about your values not aligning with that company. Can can you get into that a little bit, and maybe if it's just you talk about your values a little bit versus you know
Yeah. Well, I'll summarize it very easy. If I put people over profit.
mm,
That's my mindset of doing business and how I want to run my companies. Um, and in corporate America, if you're in that space, you understand that they are very. It's all about the numbers. Honestly, it's only about the numbers. They really don't care who's doing what, or as long as they get their numbers, that's all they care about. And it I was at that part. I was what's called a portfolio operations I don't even remember my title. Operations director. It was equivalent as a regional property manager. I had a thousand plus units scattered, all single family throughout the valley in Las Vegas. We did this. It was basically running like a door complex.
right.
So I had two property managers, I had support staff, all that, but it was how they treated, you know, it's just
Yeah.
corporate
No,
America.
yeah, I get it, and I really think that it comes back down to what your mission is. Somebody asked me yesterday, what's the biggest benefit that I feel that I get out of multifamily? And I said, look, my mission has always been to provide safe and secure housing. So I've looked at it from this standpoint. There's a lot of single parents out there. And I think single moms are probably the hardest working people, around. But there's a lot of single dads too. And I know that, if I'm at work or a single mom's at work or a single dad's at work, when my kid comes home from school and that door behind them closes, I want to make sure that they're getting into their place safely, that there's no gang banging going on, there's no drugs going on, there's no firearms. And I just want to make sure that it's safe and secure. And that just goes back to mission, right? And what your values are and what you believe. And it's just what you said, it's people over profit, because what matters most. And I think that that's something that really rings loud on our clubhouse rooms that we do throughout the week. And it's important. So
Yes, absolutely. Um, I have a couple sayings that you hear me say all the time, right? One is the money train.
yeah,
You gotta follow the money train's coming, and you either get on it, get off the tracks, or you get run over.
yeah.
And I say that the only way to save the world is to make it profitable.
Hmm.
And so aligning the interest of business with um, the well-being of human beings is a big driver of mine, because I understand how the world works. I understand that really money is the lifeblood of anything that we do. And so my vision or my life goal is to align my companies and the way I do business to make money, because we have to make money, but to do it in a way where we're benefiting all the people that are partnering with us or are involved with us. Um, we want to be fair, and we want to, like I said, we'll always put people over profit, and we understand that we always have to make a profit. That's number one. That's all successful businesses need to have that profit. So we understand that, but it doesn't take away the element, the human element that a company is just a group of people, and
Yeah.
persons and people, they have bad days. They have they have life situations, and I just feel sometimes uh, a lot of companies don't take that into account. And I think if you can take that into account and put it into your how you operate, it just does for better business, because happy people do better work.
Yeah. Um, and there's so much to be said for that. I remember reading a book and it wasn't even a book, it was an article in a magazine, and I couldn't even tell you what it was, but it was about this CEO who owned a big company in Seattle. And he couldn't figure out why his people were not performing at their best, and were just kind of unhappy in their job. And he discovered that it was because of money, right? And so he went and he said, look, I'm going to pay everybody in the company $75,000. And so he took his pay and he paid people, he brought people up to that standard from his pay. And I always thought that was really an interesting thing, because it goes back to what you say about, people over profit. Because really, in the end, what matters most? And I think you and I both come from that school that, how do we help somebody else or do something for somebody else? Hey, here's what let's so we kind of talked about this show being multifamily basics, kind of what we talk about on Monday, and a little bit about private equity, what we talk about on Tuesdays on Clubhouse. And anybody who wants can join us on Monday or Tuesday on Clubhouse. We're on Mondays at 2 p.m. Central, and Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Central. And we usually rock the room. That's for sure. We get some really great people through there that are a lot smarter than Omar and I. And
That's for sure.
and I always say that if you're the smartest guy in the room, probably need to change rooms. So, but Omar, when it comes to basics, what are some of the basics that you think people really need to pay attention to, need to look at, even and especially in today's environment, right?
We comment this, or we talk about this a lot, and I think I'm gonna steal a page from your book, because when we talk about multifamily, we talk about the basics. We say there's usually about three things that you look at always. One is obviously the market, and when you say market, it is things like employment, right? It's medium income. It is crime, even crime rate. You have to look at, but medium income. Sorry, it's medium income, employment, and I'm missing something. Oh, and population.
Population, right?
Population. So you want a place where the population is steadily growing or rapidly growing, but you don't want to decline. Population where people are leaving. You want different industries to support the employment, right? You don't want. I'll give you an example. Las Vegas is very heavily tourism based. Hotels. They have a lot of jobs that are based off of that. So, which is crazy, because Vegas is one of the hottest markets as well. But you look at those basic things, and then it goes back to you and your team and your capacity. What is it that you're trying to do? What is it that your values align? I always say, do you want to invest in real estate, or do you want to be in the business of real estate?
Mm.
And there's a big difference there. The people that invest in our ventures, they don't want to be in the business of real estate. They want to put their money to work safely, and obviously they want to make a return, but they don't want to hear about, unit 233 that had a toilet flush, or didn't flush, and now they don't want to hear that stuff. They don't care. Honestly,
Right.
investors, not that they don't care, but it's just not what they want to be worried about.
Right.
So that is, that is a big point, because a lot of people think, okay, I want to get into real estate, but they don't understand that there's two parts, and one is just being invested in it, and the other one is the business. Now, when we talk about the business of real estate, it's everything that's, what it is to execute that business plan for that unit. So you have to decide that this is kind of what you want to do.
Mm.
And you don't have to do it so big. You don't have to go out and buy, 200 unit plus properties throughout the nation or stuff like that. You can easily start with a few fourplexes, which is one of my, top recommendations to 80% of the people out there. Is they have a W-2, they don't hate it, it pays their bills, they have a simple life, they enjoy it. They just want that income to offset their life, right? And
Mm.
so what we tell them is, go out, buy a few fourplexes, have 10 fourplexes in your portfolio as you go out through your career. Um, but back to basics, right?
Yeah.
Man, you got to know a lot. You have to kind of know a lot if you're going to do. You got to know a lot. Like, that whole saying, "Jack of all trades, master of one." The whole saying is oftentimes better than the master of one. All right.
Yeah.
I, I I know leasing. I forgot to mention, I am a licensed, real estate agent and property manager here in Nevada. I primarily deal in commercial now, but I've done the residential. I've done the multifamily, the small, the 5 to 15 to 20 units, and then 100 and 256 unit. But you have to decide, when it goes to basics, is you have to decide what is your bandwidth, what are you good at, and figure out what space you want to be. And the only way you can really know that is by going out and kind of doing it and getting some experience, and like, okay, this is what I like, this is what I don't like,
Mm.
and go from there.
Yeah. Well spoken, that's for sure. Uh, you know, um, the the basics piece, I think, is really easy, and a lot of people might say, "Hey, where do I find that data?" Like, where do I go find the population growth or the job growth rate or what the household income is? And let me give away a couple of secrets right now. Um, you know, Google is the greatest place to find any of that data you want. I mean, just put in the search bar population growth in Las Vegas, zip code, and it will come up for you like that. So Google works well, but there's a map. It's called justicemap.org that gives you a full blown perspective on population, job, demographics, household income. And you can go to Trulia and get a crime rate report, get a school report. And those are the things that help you decide, do I want to be here or not? And then the other thing I wanted to mention was what you were talking about, small multifamily. Um, I met a lender here in Chicago who's got a program that he teaches new multifamily investors how to do a 4-3-2-1 step down. He says, buy your first property through an FHA, use a 203 rehab loan, and buy a 4 unit. You can do it with 3.5% down. They use the income from the property, and you can get into here in Chicago, a 4 flat could cost you $800,000. It's crazy. So you can get into one of these with 3.5% down. And then he said, 2 years, live in it, 2 years, do a 3 flat. And then 2 years, or 18 months, do a 2 flat. And then he says, buy your single family home. I'm a huge advocate, and I subscribe to this, that you shouldn't buy a fancy car, nor should you buy a house for yourself till you own some investment property. And, it's, I take
It
my
go
own.
it goes
Go
It
ahead.
goes against what everybody's been taught, right? Everybody's,
Sure.
go out and go buy your home.
Right.
It's the center, it's the core. And I think it's a big mistake. And you know, like I said, I preach, don't buy your home. Go buy as many at the beginning, buy as many fourplexes. And I say fourplexes. I'm not, the the duplex or the triplex. I say four because it's about units. In the multifamily space, it's about number of doors. And the
Yeah.
more number of doors, the less expensive certain things are. It's called that economy of scale, right? And if you bought, if you did that same thing like but just bought a fourplex and then another fourplex and then another fourplex, you have 12 units.
Yeah.
And if you're making 100, let's say 100 to hopefully $100 minimum, right? Is what, after everything is said and done, 100, that's $1,200 a month that you should be receiving net. And if you keep on doing that, you can see that you buy 10 of those, you have 40 units. And that's $4,000 that you should be receiving net. And that's not the real truth, because you understand, as you pay things off, as the leverage, all this stuff, you would actually be making more. But if everybody, and that's not hard, going out and buying a fourplex in a market that cash flows is not that difficult. But with that cash flow, then use it and use it to do your lifestyle, to go buy, have the assets pay for. That's what the rich people do.
Yeah.
We flip a lot of homes, and I regret, I don't say I regret, because every experience you have, but I think of, what would have happened if I kept a few of those. I didn't want to keep any of those. It was always just, burn and turn. And now I'm like, had we had that, just kept one out of every 4 or 5, we would have had a few. And
So funny you said that. I have to say this because, I've been in real estate 30 years. And when I first got involved, I was probably a year or 2 years in, and I started to follow a real estate trainer out of Southern California, Mike Ferry. I don't know if you know the
yeah,
name. But Mike used to say, and he would stand on the stage in front of thousands of people and say, buy your best listing every quarter. And I don't know, I don't think I bought my best listing every quarter, but I bought 2 a year for sure for a long time, not including what else I was doing in between. But you got to buy and flip, buy and hold, and if you start on the small multifamily or in single family and go to small multifamily, you can create a fortune. I mean, there's a lot of money to be made. Omar, you said it. You have 12 units at $100 a month. That's $1,200 a month. That's $14,000 a year. The economies of scale become like in your lap, right? So that's how you grow.
yeah, no, we don't get, it's funny. I just saw that thing in Florida where they're about to teach financial literacy to children, or to high school to graduate. I just saw an article that I think it's the Florida governor, said that they're going to implement financial literacy into schools, teaching about. Now, here's the problem with that: is I wonder who's going to develop that curriculum. Is it
Yeah.
going to be the banks? Because if it's the banks, it's the same message that we've received the whole time.
Yeah.
Get credit cards and all this good stuff, buy liabilities. But I'm really hoping that that's a snapshot of where our country is going, and that finally people are saying, hey, financial literacy is super important. We don't understand how money works. To be honest, I would say 85% of people don't know how money really works. The bigger picture of GDP and the macroeconomics, and how that, the whole world, right? And even recently, like I said, we always think about us in the United States, and we're very, I don't know how you say it, but we're just like, oh, US, US, US. And as in, in that club, in those clubhouse rooms, you meet people from all over the world. And that really opened my eyes over the last couple of years of all the international money
Oh
that
yeah.
is, and business that is happening in this world. And
Yeah.
we are so oblivious to it. We just don't understand the magnitude of what it happens out there in the world, and how money works, and how it flows, and how the Federal Reserve,
Yeah.
there's just all this stuff that, if you're not in world of finance and you just don't know about. So it's a shame because I think we all should learn how money works, how to make
Mm.
it work for you so that we live happier lives. Because right now it looks like everybody's mad, depressed, and pissed off.
You know, some in some cases we live a really sheltered life. You know, for as big as the world is, we just operate in this really small space. And you said it, because Clubhouse has opened my eyes, and I know it's opened your eyes to all these different parts of the world. I mean, we've communicated with people from Vietnam and Korea and Bangladesh and you know,
Africa, India, Egypt, Iran. Well, I don't know if we have. I know I spoke to just a couple Iranians for sure, but it's the whole world.
yeah,
And the cool thing is, because we're in real estate, right? I am always interested in the real estate aspects of how the world works, and let me tell you, it's a whole big world of real estate out there. Now I think, okay, once I dominate the U.S., now I got to figure out how to dominate other other countries as well. So it's a
exactly.
big world out there.
It is. Hey, you know, you said something a little bit earlier, and we kind of got to start winding down. But you said something a little bit earlier about if you don't know how to do it, you know, go learn, or something to that effect. But I think teams are so important. Hey, if you don't know how to do something, go find Omar. Go grab me. You know, we'll help you. We'll show you. We'll teach you. We'll walk you through it. But you know, don't not do something because you don't know how,
Yeah,
and don't try to do something that you don't know how, because you don't need to make the mistake. Although the mistakes can be good because they're just learning, right? I mean, I've made some mistakes and I've learned from them, right?
yeah, we
Uh,
all have.
yeah. So, but don't not do something because you don't know how is the
Yeah,
point I'm trying to make.
we, we're not taught unless you're on a professional sports team or a sports. If you did sports growing up, you understand the team concept. But to think about it in schools, we don't learn about teamwork. We don't. Everything is by yourself. We don't learn how to fail. People fail all the time. I failed many times at many things. And what I thought was weird is when I was failing and I'm there by myself and I was a solopreneur for a long time, meaning that I did a lot of things myself. When I sat there and I failed, I thought, I started putting my self-worth based off that failure, like just like the mob, you're only as good as your last envelope, right? And in real estate, you're only as good as your last deal, a lot of
Spoken like a
times.
true Vegas guy.
Yeah. So so what really opened my eyes in Clubhouse in this last couple of years is that, man, a, first of all, there's a lot of people that are unhappy, sad, depressed about where they are in life, where they are in business, right? There, there's if you don't have a support system or confidants to talk about this, to say, hey, I'm really sad because I have failed at this, and I'm really trying to make things work, and I'm looking around, and then you look on social media, and everybody's doing great. Everybody's you know
Yeah.
fancy cars and this the other, which by the way, material things to me are nothing now. I don't care about any material things. It's just about time, family, and doing awesome and helping people out. But the
Yeah.
truth is that entrepreneurs need help. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to be depressed. Do not, and especially being a man, right? You don't like to ask for help. Hell, you don't even like to ask for directions, right? Thank God they invented GPS, because I was tired of being lost, right? Because I wouldn't ask for directions, and men, especially don't ask for directions,
Yeah.
right? So in the same way that happens in business, when you start a business, and especially when you're starting out as an entrepreneur, and you're starting, first of all, I think it was Jordan Peterson that said, as you start something new, you don't want to do it because you're going to suck
Hmm.
because it's brand new. But the only way to get good at it is to do it
And
because,
suck at it. That's what else he
yeah,
said. He said, suck at it. Go ahead.
yeah. So go ahead and do something and suck at it, but you can eliminate a big part of that learning curve by partnering now with people that are already doing it. And we talk about this a lot on Clubhouse is why would somebody that has experience, that's actually doing it, interested in somebody that's new? And it's all about bandwidth and what does that person bring? If someone's bringing a deal to me, right? Let's say a brand new flipper, someone that wants to flip a house and they've never flipped a house before, but they just happen to have a great deal. They have a great deal. They could wholesale me the deal and be done, right? But if they wanted to be part of that deal, they would have to give up the majority of that deal, maybe even give up, a small that part of that wholesale fee to be part of the group that then does the job of doing it. Now you don't make as much money, right? You don't get all the, but what do you get? You get the experience of someone that's done it for a long time. You then get to learn from what they're doing, and you provide value by doing the project management aspect of it, and they get the benefit of getting another deal, and if we do this in the multifamily space, right, we're looking at that. If someone brings 100 or 200 unit or 50 units, it doesn't matter. If they can't take it down and we have the resources to put it together, I always say at the beginning, you just want to be on the paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
You want to get those number of units, you want to get on the paperwork so that you start getting that experience, because no lender is going to give you any money with no experience. It's going to be very difficult. It's going to be very difficult. So the more experience you have and the more experience you bring into a project, the easier it is to raise capital, which we barely talked about. But that experience level is a big part on raising capital.
So here's what I would tell people. Hey, if you are interested in raising capital and want to join in that conversation, join Omar and I on Tuesday afternoons at 3 p.m. on Clubhouse, where we typically have some other people on talking about raising capital that do it a lot more than we do and are a lot smarter than we are at it. So,
when they talk about their raises, they're talking about, I want to say the minimum is 10, but usually they're looking at 20, 30, and then some 250 million, which is another eye-opening thing about Clubhouse and looking out there. You're only limited. Every company, every building out there that you see is owned by somebody that just decided, you know what?
That's
we want to do this. And but they didn't do it alone. They got their team together. They made crap load of mistakes on the way, probably. Actually, not probably. They made a crap load of mistakes along the way, but they just kept on doing it, kept on being persistent, and committed to the results, or committed to the activity, and the results will come.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Hey, Omar, this has been great. Tell people how they can get a hold of you if they want to catch up with you.
Yeah, the best way is either email, which is Omar at Real Estate Wishes. We're always looking for investors, as you know, Mike. We're always raising capital in this business of real estate. You're always raising capital. I've been thinking about doing a mentorship program for some things, but we'll one step at a time. There's a lot of things. I'm starting to learn to say no to a lot of things. So.
Yeah. How about social media? People find you on social media?
Yes, I'm new at the social media game. I'm at Real Omar Merced and Instagram. You can find me obviously on LinkedIn, Omar Merced, and let's see what else we have out there. There's Twitter. I'm at Real Omar Merced at Twitter, but we don't use that often. Well, we're new to this real estate, this social media game. I've been doing this for 20 years, but my social media just hasn't caught up, but we're getting there. We're starting to do these things, and
well, big shout out to Chantel, because I think that you talk with her a little bit, and that'd be a good place for you to spend your time. So
yeah, absolutely.
So hey, Omar, hang out with me backstage for a minute, would you? I'm going to move you out and say goodbye, and come back and talk to you. Thanks for being here.
It was always a pleasure, Mike, and I hope someone, if you're out there and you're on this and you're looking at this video, decide that you can do it. Decide that you deserve it, because that's another thing. And then make a plan, execute the plan.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Omar. See you in a minute. Hey, everybody. That was Saturday Multifamily Unplugged. My guest was Omar Merced from Vegas. And Omar and I have gotten to know each other over the last year here pretty well. And it's interesting that we had this opportunity. But, you heard him at the end here. Just say, hey, make a plan, go do it, take action. If you don't know how to take, what to do, find somebody to help you take that action. I just want you to know that we're here to be supportive of you. Reach out to Omar, reach out to me if we can walk with you or help you in anything that you're trying to do in real estate investing, the multifamily space, raising capital. We want to be there and be supportive of you. We're here every Saturday at 10 a.m. Central Time. We always have a guest on that talks about multifamily, about real estate, about private capital, about construction, something that's relevant, something that you probably need to hear about. I want to say hi to everybody who was on listening live today. Thanks for being here. Thanks for continuing to be supportive. Please tell somebody about us. Please tell somebody about this show. Go to our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Follow me, like us, love us, subscribe on YouTube, and you'll always get the most relevant, up-to-date content. Thanks for being here, everybody. We'll see you next week.